jana nari kutemande furukaiwe. Echika jana nari kutemande furukaiwe. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Tandale kipentandale washayo samatao. Tandale kipentandale washayo samatao. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Twenda babiri, twenda batatu, no mighty one. Yes, baby. Twenda babiri, twenda batatu, no mighty one. Yes, baby. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Yes, baby. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Come follow wala tusanga para pachambuli. Yes, baby. Come follow wala tusanga tule kunolela. Yes, baby. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Yes, baby. Mafiga yenu mapata wana mulenga ya etiye. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, Chiwempala. Good evening, Calgary, Alberta. Good evening, Chirundu and Mansa and Chipata and Chipangali and Mongu and Senanga and Sioma and Luena and Kalomo and Monze, Zimba, Masaiti, Lufuanyama, Chingola itself, even if we've said hello to the people of Chiwempala, but we can repeat with the people of Chingola and Kitwe and all over the world. Thank you for receiving us. This is TVBAKWETU, Elias Munsha here, and we look forward to discussing a few things, as usual, of what we talk about here on TVBAKWETU. This television is here for you, and so if you have not yet subscribed as a monthly subscriber, please do so. It's very simple. All you have to do is for you to all you have to do to subscribe is to find on the comments, you're going to see your reactions. The reactions, there is a blue button that looks like the heart. So you click there, and then you can become a monthly subscriber of TVBAKWETU, of my channel, Elias Munsha, on my page of Elias Munsha, of Dr. Elias Munsha, and then you can become a monthly supporter for a very ridiculously low monthly subscription. And so please do that. For those that give stars, you can do so as well. For those on YouTube, you can send gifts, you can give thumbs up, you can do so many things on YouTube as well. All the platforms are covered. Further, we are also on KBN Network. And right now, KBN Network is on Top Star channel, and so we come live there as well. Today's topic is on corruption. And the reason why we must talk about corruption today is to try to clarify some of the issues that surround what happened with the 65 million kwacha that was found in a lady's name known as Faith Musonda. That is what we are going to be talking about today. And so I'm going to give you my opinion about what I think is the reason why the SEC went and used Section 80 of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act in order to get the money, the 65 million kwacha from Faith Musonda. And so I'll give you my opinion about that. But as I do that, please share this feed with as many people as possible. I'm unable to come on video tonight because of logistical reasons. I'm in Zambia and I don't have yet a very, very stable connection for some reason. But it has worked very well so far, but sometimes it fails me. And so my video is muted, but at least you can hear me. And that is the most important thing for our discussion today on corruption. Share with as many people as possible. Invite your neighbor. Ganshi, namusenda makuti mwaya concession of a neighbor. But number TVBAKWETU is on. Please tune in. That's very important because we must tune in. I'm in Zambia, as you are aware. And I chatted with some of the members of his team. It was quite a joy to be here and to participate in the 57th anniversary of our independence. That was one of the things that happened yesterday, and so it was quite surreal, so to speak. because that is kind of something that we fought for. We wanted Vakerenko okufumapo pakuba ziretepo obuteeko obupya mwamuna obuteeko bwesu obuteeko bwabena Zambia. And so when that happened, this was the first time that I was actually setting foot on State House ground after the collapse of the dictators Vakerenka Bonse Twali Basepa. And so I thought, let me go kuyanyanta mo mu State House kuyanyanta mo amakasaya kunyanta mo because tatwale nyanta. And the reason was because abaleteka bari ni Bakerenka, so tabayiswire iyo ifibi fya State House uko bata abantu bengiremo abarengiramo fye Bakerenka na bapati kishanshani epo bare imbire nimbo pali apene. So it became a desecrated institution. Nombao na pawa mamkwaino kuyanyanta moto waliyanyanta munokuposha kwa abantu na fiance fya baku State House kaishi twalifi posha. And so that is what I was dealing with yesterday. And so it was a wonderful time. We left there quite late with General Chipakupaku, who is also been in Zambia for some time now, trying to help out his political party. Remember, to help out his political party, he's here for service. And so that is why I made the trip, and I'm glad that that happened. I still have a few more days around here before I go back to Calgary, Alberta, to continue with what we do and the responsibilities that we have. All right. So the corruption fight. Today I featured on a certain television program, and I was being asked questions about the corruption fight, and I was being asked about how much sense can you make of what has happened regarding the Faith Musonda issue? Can you make any sense out of it? So this is a present for those that do not know, because we can't take it for granted that we won't say exactly what happened. So one day the law enforcement agencies varisapokera a tip from a member of the public ukwebati munganda iya bakunyuka asama inganda iyo va Faith Musonda muliyunlupia cash. And so the law enforcement agencies entered the house and took the money. When they took the money, then a few days later, and babapere nshitoko ati awo mukabwere babwera nakaire balubulula paka bwaira. And so when that happened, later on, after a few weeks, I don't know what was happening in the background. Elo number, the Anti-Corruption Commission and the people of Kwebate, the government has confiscated. The money has been forfeited to the state using a very specific section in the Anti-Corruption Commission Act. It's known as Section 80. Section 88 and Kwebate. Ngazakutira we muntu waibire echalo nangu na wishi omuntu waibire echalo erwakupera echuma chirya kuti wachiwekeshamo kuri government wachiwekeshamo echuma chirya kuri government elo nomba wayayiperesha okulondolola fyonse okwendala mashafu mine ifyo chali nga wachitecho obuteeko tawaka kuchite prosecute yo bantu one wabwesha echuma waibire nangu wabwesha echuma icho abantu bambi baibire abakupere. You take it back, and when you do so, you explain to the police okwebat ululu pia lwafuminoku ululu pia lwalisona so abampere ni aba ero nasuminoko bati ululu pia lwakuiba. It's stolen money. Elo nomba bakapokola balanda tapo wala walondololoko bati ululu pia lwakuiba telobe waibire fye niweka bwala uli mungo niwekerenga. After you explain that, utwebe fyonse bushena ishibako empia na shimbi shakuiba walondolola nawe ipeka nyo kuisa imini na ngaka mboni ilio tuke katabambia bashirere tolupia wasumina webere kwa inkachiria wa ibire you give it to the state. That is the section asked is, why isn't she arrested and in jail? Okay? Why isn't she arrested and in jail? Eichoganshi nombalero ndefu andondororeko panon. Why? Under these circumstances, the SEC is in order barifye bwino mkwaye mwira abasekati tababombere yo. Barifye bwino. So that batampirepo mbale okuchitashani okupokolola echuma chachalo. Batampirepo okupokolera echuma. Pantu if you just follow kwa bati bawonsa babaka bekatero nga babekata baya bachita convict mukoti nga bachita convict elo namba bachita hand over echuma. It's a very long process. So kuliko na imbi process ya chitashani ipipeko ya ipipa yabako na much more straightforward. Kanshi yakubomfia very easily. Mwamona? What does it do? What it does first of all is the wealth is returned back to the state. Secondly, ulio alete chuma achita acknowledge uko chakuiba. Thirdly, elo nomba alondorola several other things that they know about the money and other monies that are suspected to have been stolen. So that the state now yakwata kamboni uobenga bomfia kuntanshi. Because this is a very huge thing. Ubwafia wakwati nga hakutela mwalanda fya tiyo mkwa ifesto ala mukaka. Tuala senda the criminal procedure wakwati nomba tumuikate. The issue is that the mbikuti fya alenga ati mwachitashani, you miss out on valuable information that you need to catch the real thief. No, I shouldn't say real because once they are real thieves. You are going to lose out on catching other thieves that are involved. No manga mwaikato omuntu fya parafet. Elo nomba mwamutinya okumuitire mpepo. Ukweba ati nawe ishiwa iwe tupere chichuma. Elo tuwebe na fionse fya chitike. You have much more valuable information. Information iyo muunga wonfya mcourt at a later stage. And so when the SEC takes this strategy, tatufuire ifu ya citizens ukuba mwena moko bati balufyanya. No. In fact, tufiro kubachita encourage pakwe bati number we actually center on the real thieves, because no matter what we think about it, ludyo lupia ludya Faith musonda ba amupere fye te Faith waire iba chasanga bank aiba. No, she had no capacity to do so. Kwa liwa mupere no banga mwayamuikata mwamuikata mwamposa muchifungo under law kwa livefe tulando kwa bati a person uo mwaikata has no responsibility ukumilondolwera anything. In fact, they have a right to remain silent. So nomba ngako ata ida right, achita exercise their right to remain silent. Nishchapwa. And then it takes 9 years. It's going to take too long for you to get to the real thieves. So nomba ngalautera mwapokolola elo mwamwebo kwa signage paper la amipena na valuable information. It's very easy for you now to use her in order to catch the real thief. Uwa ibire no kumupela ruyolu pia. That is what is happening as far as the Anti-Corruption Commission thing is concerned. Now let's investigate. Now, of course, we have questions about which officers are these. Are they PF cadres as officers, or are connected are they to the corrupt system? Those are very genuine concerns. But on the matter of the procedure itself, I think we need to encourage SEC to take such steps. The other thing is cost. Mamona. Chaba kwana kalimo charge pako. Pantu, we need to be very clear about how expensive my investigations yaba. Pantu limoto muna kwana kalimo nchito yaba kapokola kuya fi baya nyowesha omuntu mwalisho kunyowesha. Nyowesha. Nangu bachita tocha. Ngabamu chita tocha omuntu ero nomba chabashana. Ero nomba cha alanda fiance achita aurula. No. That is not the work of the investigations agencies. They need to have proper information, very, very proper information. You see, ishimpia beba ababa kerenkaba. It's very complicated. If you beba, it's not easy. It's not as easy as mwaikato muntu ibirenkoko. You see, ngawaikato muntu ibirenkoko. First of all, wa musanga na ibenkoko. Wa muishibati nikandwa ni banda. ati nbanda ewa ive nkoko nangu tembo ngawasanga tembo aive nkoko. It's very easy. One, iwe as the owner of the chicken epoli nenkoko eyo achiva tembo epoili na tembo na yena epoali. So ngamwaya ku court, it's very easy because iwe mwine wankoko kuimini nafi kuli bajaji nokubeba ati I saw tembo with my very own eyes aive nkoko. Mwamona? Very easy. Na judge can very easily sentence because it's a very simple case to prove. Inkoko tembo aiba palika mboni oa mwene tembo aibe nkoko. It's very easy. No, but financial crimes 65 million, it's not very easy. The reason is tapali uikete 65 million pantapabo oa kwa tapo 65 million yomuntu yafu mine somewhere nomba nokoko inoko yafu mine na kwenda kwali niku somewhere. So fiaba complicated. Now because fiaba so complicated of the amount that is involved, if you nomba kwa vela iyi procedure yako wati yachashani yafyangushako pako wati you go to the real thieves, and as you are targeting those real thieves, what you are doing is you are getting the property back, you are getting valuable information, something that is going to take you years to get. But whatever fiat your faith tumuikate epo chipwire palepene, it will take years to get any information from her. Nomba ngati nechifungo ero wasainoko bati sendeni shimpia nenganda sendeni nei company sendeni ero amipera more information about the real thieves. That is much more valuable because you can use it in court at a later stage. Garakuti la faith wine adisunga ichuma na chimbi ero apanga ili undertaking abepa nishi, she's in much more trouble at a later stage. That's why we need to completely encourage the SEC to begin using this procedure. No kwangu fianya kwa ifintu poko wativekate basange the masterminds, because you faith you can no more faith can no. It's just a small player in a wider web of bakelenka. So nomba kanshinga mwaikata ulia one person ulia. What you do is you try and find other ways of okuigata bambi. And so that's why in Nepal I think that the SEC procedure win instead of insisting on covered number mumuikate. Now our citizens of course are concerned because what it's compare number uivenkoko is very easy ukuingira for 2 years. Number wa 65 million. Na the difference there. Mulando wako but ama corrupt practices mweba nandi ala yalishupa. Elo babene ba SEC ngefu na chilanda. Tulumona kona kani mubali ba equipped. Sometimes they are not very well equipped. Na ma computer ya makata bakwata na internet takwaba. Na ma light ya laya. Nomba imwe, how can you investigate multi-million dollar theft? In order to prove it in court to this highest standard, ama light tamwakwata. How are you going to run your computers? Kanshimo mukaya kukota you try to lay down evidence mwasango kwa evidence ya abufi, because when you were trying to access certain pieces of information there was load shedding. 1, 2, internet stakwali, so you can't even cooperate with several people. So instead of insisting in this very, very elaborate procedure of the criminal way, the best way to deal with these thieves at the moment is no kubaletera confusion in their camp, so that you go to the real culprit no kubekata. Now it seems shishive, but the real culprit alikwata immunity. I don't know. The real culprit alikwata immunity, so it's difficult to kuya musanga. Shishive. Chirandati natunga nyomuntu. No. Echo ndelanda chakuwa limbi. The real criminal alikwata immunity. Ndebo mfya limbi. Maybe. Mamona. That's the real issue here. Nangulimbi alivutuka katuishoko alinonshta alikumodives. Islands. It's difficult to kuyamsenda. Kanshi fyako chita you turn or you muntu you into a set witness pakwebate, you get information as soon as possible. Tatule lando kwebate nombata mwakula veka using the criminal procedure. No, you continue. But kuikato muntu wakobate mwiri very sure na evidence namkwata. Ngafira tuikata bankoko. Momfo efuna chilondolola pankoko bantu ngawa iwe ngadakutira wasanga kwa tembo na iwe nkoko. It's easy. Tembo inkoko na iwepo, it's very easy. Nomba uwafe wakubata yama cases aya yaliba complicated. Yaliba extremely complicated. That's why we need to do this and encourage. In fact, now that is one procedure. There is another procedure that can be used by the SEC, but this in our kapokola. Yakobat basanga property. With the 48 houses. Okay. So in the case of Faith Musonda, you have a person who take 65 million. Okay. Elo number alondolola fyonse asaina kwebati fyonse fyondandire fishing kafisende ni fifyuma amipela na valuable information. Elo number mwamwebo kwebati tato wako kuchite prosecute pantu walondolola in truth and elo wasta admit kwebati wadiva. That's one procedure. There is another procedure that they use on the 48 houses. This procedure was 48 houses vaya sanga maya ndefine na ya ikula yene yeka. Elo nomba bonse bakana ati tevene. So nomba under the law kwa alibana imbi procedure yo babomfya. Iya kwa batinga mwasange chikulwa building. Iyo mwachita reasonably suspect to be a proceed of crime. Kuti government yachita shani yasenda ya janda. And that's what happened on the 48 houses. Government yachita shani yasenda. Elo nomba yachita publish in the government gazette nangu in the popular newspaper. Ukwewe atina to senda this and this property, may the owner come and fetch it. If after 60 days iliyaka tushinga 90 days, kalekela ama lawyers wa Zambia kuisa rondo era kwenu. If it's 60 days or 90 days, tapaliwa ipere shoko yachita claim ya property. Elo chibashani judge assign apoko wat nomba this property is forfeited to the state. That is the other procedure. Iye procedure therefore yokoba nomba bonse babomfye tiyisi na ba SEC. Bashunguluke omumonso mumachibombo mumakafyuwe muchalala. Okulolesha ama buildings ayachitire spring up all over. No kufisenda fyonse. So that owners nomba baka ekuisa ku high court muko isirondolola tebene. Elo abashaka chite show up to claim those properties. You forfeit them to the state. It's a much more straightforward issue, and it's straightforward because ababa kerenkaba they use force people. Let's take the 48 houses for example. Bafoja umwine udi title deed. Babomfia fashion dia muntu yikarire who does not even know that register on anything. Nama signature bafoja. If you are following criminal procedure, ngamwatwala that thing ku court. Elo nomba udiomwine oaba title deed. Aya imini na muchiti. Elo akano kwa tine land ishiba. You can't convict. So you will have wasted so much time we are kulanzi shani and your case cannot be proven. And if it cannot be proven, udiomuntu ala chitashani, then you walk. That's why the easiest thing is kujanda mwapokangale. Mwabika 60 days advert. If no one shows up, it becomes part of property of the state. That's it. 48,000. That is the pattern that needs to be used. Epela. Collect enough evidence because under the criminal justice system, it's evidence-based. Okukusabaira limotusabaira pa TV bakwetu. Kusabaira fye. Lelo muchite cha mulandu tulefuaya evidence. What is evidence? Evidence muntu nga muntu. Uwa kuyaeva judge. Ukweba atina umuntu uwa a witness uwa mwene fintu. That is where the cornerstone of evidence is. Emo evidence yalo lomo. Mwakwebati emo yalo la evidence ndina ba Patrick Chilufia. then picture ile moneka ine picture ta ile mona so imo mwakola ele nganya afyevyo nde moneka but ba Patrick Chilufe bena muleba mona na bamukelabaye muleba mona anyway ine nara ibika pakati kwati ero fyala bomba bwe. Okay, so evidence ebwafya bwabapo. So there is a way in which if we as human beings tuchita suspect umuntu for example atoliani kabwalala odianishani if yakulandalanda fyakulandalanda fyepa TV bakwetu atoliani kabwalala when you take this matter to court nomba you must produce evidence so nomba tekulanda vyati yo nomba waleri piramenshi ni nani katuishi waleri piramenshi tekulanda vyati yo since kwali waleri piramenshi therefore unamuchita prove a case. No, you haven't. So instead of wasting so much resources, so much time, ukutuma bakapokolo, ukutuma ama investigators, ukutuma ma lawyers to go and investigate, imofipokolole nifye. And when you get and confiscate all this property, you know what will happen? Once you confiscate all this property, it becomes state property. Zambia is not a safe place for stolen buildings, stolen cars, stolen houses, stolen farms, stolen land, stolen shoes, stolen bombasas. It's not safe for them. If it's not safe place for them. We are going to fight against corruption. That's why nombakanshi strategy yaba UPND alliance to prioritize recovery of stolen assets is very important. And I agree with him. Let us prioritize recovery of stolen property. Because ngatwasenda sana criminal procedure hii. Ifika tutave frustrate sana kuntanji. First of all, imiaka, it will be years and years before you secure a conviction. Tatule don't do criminal. What we are saying is that only do criminal where you are sure. A very solid case. Yes. Nombanga mwamona fyo tuma nani kani tuma wangu mwachita asesu kwa this one yala shupa fipokololeni fye. Because nangu muntu alikwata immunity. Nomba, nishire lando kweba tukuli umuntu involved wakwata immunity. No. De landa fe, in the general sense kweba te, nangu muntu alikwata immunity. Wamona? Ngamuayamu kongati, mumu ikato wakwata immunity. It's tough. Nomba, ukupokolola. Ifintu fya kwato muntu wakwata immunity. Kutimu apokolola. The reason is, uwa mulechita attack. Muntu yo mulechita attack property take semu kuchita claim ati chandi aletina tala sevana aletina twala mwishi bateka bwalala aletina ti mungo so nombaka yafisama you get the property eno mwakonka na mwakonkela na abantu bamwe mushinguluike aba muchita surround nevyo fine mwapoka muku chitafye speculate nshide tungani omuntu iyo koba tuyu ekabwalala iyo atuni kabwalala wakwata immunity no nshide tungani icho ndelo ndoro lapha kulondolola fyo kwebete it's easier to use civil procedure ukupokolola echume echo ababakere nkabayiba than ukuchita rely too much on locking them up. Again, icho nde chitira kwana kari munde koma okweba tabantu besu bachitashani bakutike bomfwe what is really going on here akaiti na weke sharp tatulelanda ati tatwakabeka te icho tulelanda icho tufuira okulanda chako bati ukubomfya criminal procedure, it's expensive, it's time consuming, it's very limiting. Natofisende, natopokolole. Kanshi na nichidi mbulu road, kuiku pita fiapo ture pita. Afe mwasonta papa tuishumu inokwali mwapoka imyoto keshimumone imyoto keshama 4x4 aye imyoto keshakuba imyoto kashama none mwapokolola umwine yaisaibereshani no batatulira tukuchite chimfulunganya no you do it very methodically mpaka mwaweshe chuma. Okay, nomba ndande kona imbi point kuli abalera ndokuba chichuma chali yakale outside the country. It's known as externalization of stolen loot. Badisunga kufyalo fimbi. If you use a criminal procedure, mwabeka takuno ku Zambia, it will freeze that property mufyalo, but it will not bring you that property in good time. If you are targeting money and other property, iyo basunga in other countries, the civil process is easier. But the civil process is an international standard. Iyo abasungu ku Britain, bachilufya bala asumina. Basuminamo, nokusaina bali saina. Ba United Nations, actually, ma standards yama United Nations aya. Bantu bali samona kuwati, ubungo and corruption became so rampant, and the criminal courts are not adequately prepared to deal with this issue. If you number an easier way to get this property. Bantu ngamwachita insist on criminal procedure. It's tough because under criminal procedure mwebo, umuntu nangu wamsanga leiba or amsanga leiba, they are innocent. Elonga kwa bafie 1 or 2 things if you tamutantike wino, they are acquitted. Because ngatamutantike wino your case, it should be resolved to the benefit of the accused. So kanshmwa kwata fe witness wa kwa bata haya firufyanya palya mumboko shimulia ni chapo mwaluso mulanda. That's why inombe iwe yabaira po much more easier. Elo nombanga mwasenda chitechi paper la saine fine faith musonda na saina. Elo amyebo kwa iliba property ku Malawi. Pantu abena Malawi limbe kwa yechuma ku Malawi. Echo munga tuwala ku Malawi ati uyu ali saina poko bati kwa iliba bank account yaleni wesheni ulupia duka bwela. Nombanga mwali muikete mwamposa muchifungo elo mwaya ku criminal court. It will just free elo ngaba akuite tikuti abwekera mumu kuchitashani muku yafisenda. That's why it's a very good process number. It's too expensive. It's too complicated. Let us take a simpler process here. But even the international community are going to support us. All the money that has been externalized by these thieves is quickly repatriated back into our coffers, so that ishitama condom, not a condom, aya hanibia kobatama condom kutulika condom ichidole ibomfya condom yatulika. In fact, taula tampa noko ibomfya condom na itulika kale. Kansha abantu kulwala amafumo ayali unplanned wafya sana. So when you bring back that money, you can use it. You can use that money to do the right things. Echo tureri lidako fuego. Ukweba state tuambe kokula chita concentrate at yom kwa tubekate fie yo. What we need first of all is that ululu pio lubai valuwele muchalo mbale luabuela. Chide mwalu mona nomba. Ero nomba munga chita kwa tubekate. Nomba te kwamba fyo kubla bekataula ikataure vifine fya chikulu mwa ikata. No. Lekeni mbale ulupia luwele. Lekeni basai never SEC with as many criminals as possible. Lekeni these criminals give up the money willingly on their own. Because when you give up that money, of course nishi ulimungo. Because faith takakane alisaina kaloko bati shidempia shakuiba faith musonda. Faith musonde twasaine alilando ko bati shakuiba. Emkwai kwena na landa ushumfa patu nono tunalanda ni konfu. Bachilufya weso. Bachilufya pa mwili.
Sepondi bamusha mulishani bamusha.
Ale bamukela
Mulengo bamusha. Epondi.
Yo tulifia bwino twa totela for that analysis. and explanation. I hope the nation have heard, but not quite a me pusho before tamla ya. Bet ba chirufia ba tampe.
Empire.
Yeah. Bamusha mlengufa.
Empire.
Okay. Yeah, so Bamusha, I think ama points mapanga from London rapa very important, and I think abantu having because if you remember, you and me, we've been talking about this, and I've given an example of the UK. I've said so many times that criminal prosecutions are not easy, and they're not even cheap. And then criminals are very sophisticated. It's not easy to prove criminal offenses because the evidence is just too much, beyond reasonable doubt. While in a civil case, it's just a balance of probability. And you remember I gave an example of the UK, our Scotland Yard, well-funded, one of the most powerful enforcement agencies in the world. But they still use a civil way of recovering stolen assets from the government. So they had to come up with a law called they had to come up with a law called lifestyle audit. So like in a bomba with an organization that is funded by the government. So what they do is they're living beyond my means. Ninkwatama mansions and everything. Other businesses I do, how much I make, a tax valishwa. So they'll come to me and say, Bachilufia, I think we think you are living beyond your means. Can you prove that salary mufolei you can afford and then what they would do immediately, like what they did Kuli Faith, they will grab those properties because they believe those properties are proceeds of crime. So now, you know what happens now? Because this is a civil case, the onus now is on me to prove that Fipesi and Difidia. So yachinja number because Muntunga Mami Kataba criminal prosecution, the onus is on the state to prove beyond reasonable doubt that namkwata evidence mumikata uli mukati. But inga mwapoka fide fintu. Remember, the onus now is on the individual to prove that alishitire nendala mashako. So, the method wa government I think it's good. Remember I was saying, BAKWETU, that there must have been a deal behind this because amnesty has been used to Nigeria. To Nigeria, they said, we've given you a few months. Once not within that period to Kamikata. And people started bringing back the money. But the question to Akwete kuri faith, abantu wange bakwete, faith tayiretere ndama bali mwikata. So there must have been a deal behind behind that faith alisumina, yes. Ishindrama shakwiba ne that is from proceeds yakwiba, and also I'll help the states to recover more money, which was very good. You know, and I think it's then again, Bamusha, if there is enough evidence, some people should be prosecuted. Grab the property, grab the assets, and even prosecute them. Because that's what people want. People want to kuingira muchifungo.
Yes.
But Bamusha,
yes,
they would rather give away. bakabona batabafa okuingira mu kifungo. They would rather give away the assets, like what has happened to Faith. I rest my peace.
Yes, I agree that we need to use the criminal procedure. That is agreeable. But what I'm saying is, you use it where you are at least certain that you are going to raise your investigations and your evidence to that degree, beyond a reasonable doubt, at least. The thing is, you can invest so much resources, and court, your case collapses just on one little link. Because all criminals are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty. So number, and when umuntu bamuchita acquit like that, aya senda nechuma chakwe chiri ati chandi mwali ifiro kuchita proof. So it's a waste of time again to begin using another procedure of keeping that money. So the easiest is get the money through civil forfeiture legislation. Only convict when you are very sure. For example, apakutukavako ka puzzle that is created here, because Faith is willing to become a witness. If she's willing to become a witness, it means then once Faith turns, at least you fortified your criminal case against that big criminal. Yeah. Bamukilabai.
Yes, Vamusha. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Mwebe Kalachalo, Kimanzibwani, Vakwetu, Kuchiwempala, Kwabulozi, Kwahae, Muchwani, Sichabasamulimu, Sichabasahesu. Vamusha, I have understood, I've heard you, but a problem of your own kwete the very people that are making deals with the criminals, their actions, also their practices, or their way of doing investigations are questionable too. So the question now becomes, the Zambian people now start wondering. We know we have a good deal. We can go through these civil suits where we recover properties, stolen properties, and then turn some of these criminals suspect into state witnesses, so we can go ahead and catch the big fish. But the quality of investigations, already we have been hearing Utuma audios going around from the investigative wings that are questionable. How credible are these deals? Are they going to hold any water? Are they promising us that we are going to see those big fish being caged or being brought to book so we can go and grab the properties or return the monies? Because in it's we just have to have this political will, the way Hakainde has started with his powerful message, zero tolerance on corruption. And if we can just hold on to this, probably we may go ahead and achieve our dreams, or what we want, get our properties back. But if Mr. Hakainde keeps on holding on to the people that were in the previous regime, for fear that he may pay so much money, this crusade may be affected, and we may go back to the beginning, from the start, that it as though it has never started. But we have seen result already that is going in a right direction, where this girl or this lady came out, agreed through her representatives, the lawyers, who were also government officials. So they know. My question, Bamusha, is, are we not, the public, entitled to know of what is going on? Not just ask TVBAKWETU to explain about the procedures. Where is the government in this? How are they going to explain these things to the Zambian people? We want to keep, because we are keeping track. So that is my concern. Let me hold there. Then I'll proceed later. I have so many questions over this issue. Natote.
Thank you very much. I'm going to let Rose. You don't look settled, so can I? Are you ready to chip in?
Unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. What
Unmute yourself, please.
can you hear me now? Sorry, my voice is kind of had a cold. What you have explained, Ramusha, is very clear. Whatever the government is taking, the procedure is very good because faith is gonna be the state witness so that they can discover a lot of assets. And the other thing, the way you explain about the property, yes, because when they take something for you, you have to go there and say, "This is mine," and then they ask you, "How did you have this thing?" That's the only way I can say. Whatever the president is taking, the procedure is very good.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chamapesi.
Yeah, otherwise, I heard what you said, but the problem myself I have is we haven't set any example. When I say we haven't set any example, is since we've turned multi-party system, we've never locked up anybody big. When I say big, a vice president, a minister of finance for corruption, we've never locked any of them up. Because if we had done that, it won't be, because right now it's just singing. Nothing much is happening. They know that, okay, I can just give them back the money and they'll let me go. At the moment, that's if you, now I'm just talking just from a layman point of view. Because when you think of it, as Musha explained, and I think Patrick also touched on it, you said financial, in terms of corruption and all that, they're a bit difficult to prosecute to compare to somebody who's stolen a chicken. To be honest with you, some of our laws, okay, I know there are laws, don't get me wrong, but now I'm just talking in terms of just us, just a human being. If somebody, I gave this example last time again, and I'll give it again because I think it will make more sense. Recently, a young lady, or not a young lady, somebody, I don't know whether it's female or male, was jailed because of Ivangi. Now we are talking about 65 million. Somebody has got leeway to negotiate that. We should find a way of which, yes, they might, if they want, they can call our government that they are a bad government. Just get them. You find 65 million, you can't explain it. You can't go 1 year to allow not your parents. And if you follow the story, all of us, we read the story. There was 65 million plus about 50 something dollars, $1,000. On top of that, there were about 8 or so empty bags. And in those empty bags, they're supposed to be 1 billion each in those bags. They were empty. To me, if you ask me, they just ran out of space. They couldn't carry the other 65 million and the other 50 whatever $1,000. That's why you found them. Yes, there are other people involved. Yes, it's nice to have a state witness to help you out. But for me,
Sorry, I think Kwachiba echo from Banachilombe's device. So Banachilombe, once I bring you on the screen, could you please mute your mic? Could you please mute your mic? Go ahead, Percy.
So for me, I do agree with what was said, what has been discussed. But all I would like is to change a bit of our laws, to make them as tight as we can. Yes, we have to give leeways. Yes, we need, sometimes you need to entice somebody kuti azali abanangu. I understand that. But come on, this Faith woman, she got 65 million. Okay, she didn't get, somebody gave her, because I don't think she had the capacity or the, I know sometimes you can look at a person and judge without knowing that they are a scam. But the fact is, the money was too much and the things they found were too much. I can understand if she made a deal for us to get the actual people who gave her, that I can understand, but still, she needed to spend some time in jail. Not for every time to let that point to allow. No. Even a state witness, at least are spending a few months in jail. Parali mu jail, ero alala ndana fiance fiale fisa. Because sometimes when you are nice, that's my opinion. Because for me, I feel that we in Zambia, we haven't thrown in jail any big fish who's stolen from the government. At the end of the day, we are just singing songs and nobody will get locked up. Pangama deals, that's my opinion. As soon as we start locking them up, we won't be having these problems, because as soon as we say we'll lock you up, as soon if you steal, you see the stealing will go down. Anyway, I'll leave it there. But, oh, before I stop, people complain about that Rwandan president. Check how much corruption is in his country. Then you can come and argue with me later. I'll leave it there.
How if you are using a dictator to judge our corruption fight, we have no justification for removing Edgar Lungu from office. And so we are a democracy. We are different from Bakerenka. We are different from dictators. And so we shouldn't bring in dictators as our standard for our democracy. I just needed to clarify that. I know several of us believe that Kagame is a role model. In South Africa, opposition figures dying. In Mozambique, opposition figures dying. If we say that that's okay, then there was no reason for us to fight against the Lungu government. If anything, a reason valuable Mfyokovati, you went to Rwanda.
Bamusha, just on corruption, the rest I don't agree with him, but just corruption, that's the only thing. Just corruption.
Yeah, but
about corruption, we can be as ruthless as we want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what we would wish for us to have. And the law is there, right? It's just that when gathering evidence, complicated, it's complex. And so if we have that is what I would think. Let us use those alternatives. Because there is definitely an alternative that can be used. Vana Chilombe, I don't think wale umfa. But Beauty Digan.
Hello, mkwainde umfa.
Mkwaina bakwata ko tuma shuina question.
don't think wale umfa. Beauty
Ndeo
vegan.
umfa bamusha ndeo umfa.
Mkwai ndeo mfa.
Mkwai na bakwaza
Okay, na ikwata echo line yenu.
Ndeo umfa bamusha ndeo umfa.
Mkwai ndeo mfa.
Mkwai na ikwata echo line yenu, so stay mute.
Ndeo mfa bamusha ndeo.
Can I come in, Vamusha? Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah, no, I've heard what you've said, and it's great to get it from the subject matter expert. And, you know, this for future law, I'm just getting to learn a little bit about it from the International Labour Organization. And of course, from the Zambian, you know, side of things. And also, I also hear what Chama Percy alluded to. You know, it's very painful to see, like he said, one of the things that he said that I remember is that, you know, there were a couple of trunks that were found in Faith's house, right? And according to that lady who worked in Bank of Zambia, those trunks are supposed to have more than 1 billion, you know, kwacha in them. So if that was the case, where is that money? I think that's what is hurting the Zambian people. Where is that money? They want to know. And yes, I also understand what you're saying, Ramusha. We've gotten the 65,000 at a bird, a bird in your what? In your hand is better than the one what? You know, there's that saying. You know, we not to quite MPM Maboko. Yes, why should we let go of it? And also, if we had to let that case go to court, it's going to be the taxpayers' money that's going to be spent anyway, and we're probably going to even spend more than 65 million, you know, to try and get that money back. So what's the point? But I would really like to know, is there anything else that's going on? Are there more investigations going in to find out where and who is holding onto the other money? And two, I'm sure Bashushu knows what they're doing. People know what they're doing. If they're in those jobs and they really know what, you know, what they should be doing, they should be doing things like that. The other thing that I would like to find out is really and truly what they could have done with Bamusha. Easy, and I think we've talked about this already. They could have taken that money to find out when the money was, that money was printed. When was it printed? They could have known exactly how it found itself in Faith's house, because like everybody says, she never worked for Bank of Zambia. So therefore, the trunks and the money, and when it was printed, she doesn't have an account with the Bank of Zambia. They could have, you know, caught the criminal straight away. Like somebody else said, Faith is not a thief. She didn't go to Bank of Zambia to go and steal this money. So it is very, you know, and also the lifestyle audit that Patrick was talking about. That's another thing that, you know, they should be looking at. Even the ministers, if they want to get a lot of that money back, just go and audit them and say, you know what, Beauty, you get paid $100 a year, you know, but with a person that gets paid $100 a year doesn't do any businesses according to the tax returns that you do every year. Why are you driving so many, you know, expensive cars and all this kind of stuff? They should be able to get them. But anyway, those are my points. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, just to help clarify some of the things here, there is no controversy with the source of the money. I think everybody knows that the source of the money is corrupt. Faith herself has acknowledged. That's why she handed over the money to the state. So she has signed to say, Ishimpia shakuiva. And so there is no issue there at all. The only issue is, do we have enough evidence to have a conviction in a court of law, in a criminal court of law? That is where the thing is. Yeah, that is where the thing is. So if there is an alternative way, let us get that, and that is what happened with Section 80 of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act. I think that's where the issue is. But Wallace Miyoba.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me there? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, I want to echo with what Mr. Mwisha is saying, Faith has agreed that impia yakwiva. So who stole that money then from Bank of Zambia? That's what we want to know. There is also what we want to that people, should know that there is community judgment. The community wants to know who got that money from the Bank of Zambia to take it to Faith. It is very simple for Faith to say, this is the person who brought this money to me. Let us not use the words and play with words and all. Let us be very fair. The world is watching this program, and the president is watching this program. Then we should be really tell the truth. Who brought the money to Faith? And that should be already been mentioned. If Faith says impia yakwiva, so then who took that money to Faith? Stolen money to Faith? Simple as that. Who did it? We want to know that. And this is what people want to know. Zambian people want to know that, because the Faith is not safe if she was to walk alone in the community without these clarities. We have to make sure it's clear for the Zambian people, because people are hating. People have died of COVID. People were staying, staying in Hagende's home to safeguard him when PF was actually wanted to get him out. They were living there, for 2-3 days. And then we have this, and the president is not talking about it. It's not supposed to be Bakwetu talking about this. President should be actually informing the nation where we are about this situation. I'm really disappointed that this situation is not actually escalated, is not even being talked in Zambia. It's us abroad talking about it. I rest my case.
Yes, indeed. I think it's very fair to see the frustrations. And so my suspicion is, with the undertaking that she has made, I think she's probably mentioned where the money came from. It's very difficult for her to have her undertaking accepted if she did not say where the money came from. So I believe it's part of that, and I believe it could be used in future. I don't know, but it's probably going to be used in future. That's why we need to focus on what has worked now. What has worked now is that the people of Zambia do have the money back, their money. That has worked. The next thing is there is at least a clear path to hunting for the bigger fish, and that has worked. So we need to be positive about that. But Beauty had mentioned a little bit about the monies that is outside. Yes, I think the money that is outside is going to be tracked and it's going to be brought back. The only issue is what procedure do we bring it back? Criminal procedure, it will take decades. Civil forfeiture is easier. It's international standards. It's as good as just tracking the electronic transactions, finding where they went, and forfeiting them to the state. That's the easiest way. If Faith, for example, is aware of some other monies that were externalized and she has handed over that information to law enforcement, they'll just take her statement to international partners and freeze the assets and bring back the assets far much easier. Regarding the roles of do shushus know, this is one of the things that we need to clarify. And in fact, there's been recent changes today at the Red Brick. The president has dismissed 2 directors, the managing director and they're called Director General and Deputy Director General of the Red Brick. They've been dismissed and they've been replaced with new guys. Red Brick in our democracy works on intelligence information. Intelligence information cannot be taken in a court of law. Never. It's information that is mostly hearsay, some omulomo no obufi. Nomba buli obu no obufi bulafwa iko ngole teke chalo. That's why ikateka afuire akwata access kuchishinka. Elo kateka afuire akwata kona access kumulomo. Official mulomo. Nomba uli omulomo, it's not high standard thing if yakwata tumuatwala ku court. No. For example, ngalefo kuishiba ati uli omuntu akwete shinga mu account. Kuti bamufuaira iliya information. But that document bamupela, it cannot be produced in a court of law because it's mostly what? Hearsay and obufi. And yet it's very valuable information. That is the role of intelligence in our democratic system. We can't rely on intelligence to give us justice, or we can't rely on intelligence to become like law enforcement. No, because law enforcement has intelligence has its own very specific information. Sometimes even the intelligence themselves could have a name of a person they suspect could be an owner of 48 houses. But that is intelligence information. You can't disseminate it. You can't action on it. You can just know at mwale mona lipira ni nani. Intelligence bebere kwena on this what wale mona you. You know, but you can't use that information in a court of law, unfortunately. Yeah, you can't use
the fingers, all the fingers are pointing at one person, one individual. And that is what we want. So if to the fire fear.
But common sense.
That's why Shilumbu is Shina.
Bamusha, can I say something? Zambians, if I take Zambians back, the last two regimes, there have been incidences that have happened, and Zambians needs to learn from there. You know, this government might look to be slow when they are doing things, but they've learned from the last two regimes. You know, their aim is to recover the assets. Because once you've recovered the asset, it doesn't matter whether you've prosecuted people. You've grabbed what they had stolen. Because civil way of recovering assets is cheaper, it's easier, it doesn't cost the taxpayers money, and you've recovered what you wanted. I'll give you an example: the 48 houses. I've never heard people complaining about them, because criminally we were not going to find those people. It's not easy to find them. But civilly, we grabbed the 48 houses. So the 48 houses is similar to what they've done to Faith. Only that Faith was caught. But the 48 houses, somebody reported, we've seen houses that have been built, you know, using criminal proceedings. They went there, nobody came, and they grabbed the properties. Take you back to Mwanawasa, the person most of the people said Mwanawasa was the best in fighting corruption. If you know how much the taxpayers paid the lawyers, the prosecutors, private prosecutors, you won't believe it. So if you compare the cost and the benefit during Mwanawasa government, you might find that the government made losses. The government actually paid more than what they collected. And then when you look at Chiluba, they never recovered anything. Only a few properties through London, through a civil means. But all that criminal thing couldn't bear any fruits. So at the end of the day, the smartest way, even the UK is doing it now, the smartest, the cheapest, and the best way of dealing with criminals is to cripple them financially. Because once you recover those assets. Look, like Faith. Obviously, Faith, maybe that was the money she was given as part of the deal. Maybe Faith was used as a conduit. Faith had a company. Maybe they used Faith's company to steal money, and that money was the money she was paid as doing that job. Now imagine Faith has lost the house, she's lost the cash. Maybe that's the only cash she had, and that's the only property she has. So Faith now, what's the point of putting Faith in jail when Faith has no money, no property? Who has gained? It's the Zambian people. But as Mamusha said, there must be some big fishes behind there. Okay, if Faith told them the money somebody brought the money, and the money she was given the money. So obviously the intelligence has got the name of that person. But then you can't prove that just because the bags are from Bank of Zambia, that person who brought the money to Faith came with the money from Bank of Zambia. No. So now they have to start now investigating how that person brought the money to Faith. And obviously that person who brought the money to Faith didn't get the money directly from Bank of Zambia. How did it come out of Bank of Zambia? So it's not easy. So, even Akainde has said, before you arrest somebody, first investigate thoroughly. We're talking about criminals who can afford the most expensive lawyers. And if you don't do your job well, you'll be embarrassed when you go to court. I rest my peace.
Shami, I feel that they can go both ways. Both ways, both criminal and civil. Civil is where we recover our properties, secure a settlement, ama agreement, na twikala mu offices in camera, mwachita mapanga ma deals now, and like what they've done to us, what they have done the SEC. At the same time, we should not just throw away the criminal aspect, because we are going to set up a very terrible precedent just because we want to avoid paying. We are not, we can prosecute. We are a country that is capable to prosecute anybody. So we should not limit ourselves, our capability. We can. And if you know, and if you, the thieves, the criminals, you are watching us, and you think by us talking about you being about grabbing properties and then scot you free, don't feel comfortable, because we are coming for you, the government. We are going to make sure that the police and the DEC people, the SEC, all these investigative wings, you have to have a criminal name. You have to have a criminal charge. You will be thrown behind bars. If it means removing immunity, we shall remove it. If at all there is someone with immunity, we are going to remove it and put you behind bars, because the new deal means business. There's nothing, we cannot allow AMA deals taking place Mumbai and without seeing people being punished. Even the Bible, it is stated in the Bible. So there's no way we should feel sorry for them. Let's get what we can get, and that is not even their property that we are busy trying to negotiate for. It is the Zambian people's property, and we should have it. At the same time, by virtue of them getting involved, thinking to deprive, to devalue the Zambian people of their property, their hard-earned, just that cause, that action, that's intention to defraud the country, that should be given, they should be given a stiff punishment under our criminal procedure code, whether cheap or expensive, whether it would take 10 years. What we want to see is you pay back, at the same time you go in, because we can do it the double. You can go in civil, where we get our properties back, and at the same time you go in Muchimbwakaela and save for a certain period of time, even for life if we want. It's up to the judge, our justice system also. Na issue yama delaying cases. It's the judiciary that should also come up and speed up, pull up their success. If you see a lawyer trying to play, that tricky games where they want to just earn money, make a judgment, put someone, throw him in. If they can appeal, you can't be sued. They can go ahead, but if
I'm throw them in jail.
Yeah.
Lawyers. Lawyer, there was a search on Finlay's house on the 19th. And the two lawyers. I don't know, the police are looking for them for stealing $800,000.
Adama lawyers
So by Finet, they raided Finlay's house. Number by 800,000. Kachinga 800,000 and 8 million. So what the police are looking for them. This seriously undermines the fight.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, that's very to understand the lawyer.
Anyway, let's not speculate, but we can hold on to the issue that is at hand. The issue where Faith had a deal with the state agents where she has to surrender, or not surrender actually. They have forfeited the properties and the money, and she has made a deal. Whether now we don't know the deal, we don't know the details. That's the game of the prosecution. But we want to know in the future how this. Someone is on. Yeah. So we want to know how this lady is going to be prosecuted. I mean, protected also by the public, because her name is in the public domain. I don't think Faith Musonda will be able to travel, to walk Mukatondo Street. The moment she walks in, I think she will attract a lot of attention, and people may even harm her. So just that's the freedom, that's the arrest we are talking about, that she's also somehow mentally under prison. She's never going to be free. Even if I could church mukupepa wakula monaka twakulala ndavet moneni aba hypocrites aba balesa mukupepa mini wabali basangana na kasaka kandaram, and nakash. Let me tell you something. Zambian women, or women of Africa everywhere, stop being used by men. Stand up to your rights, stand up to yourselves. Don't be used, don't be intimidated. Look, where are the men? The people that were coming to you, sweet talk you, where are they? Na fikala file tamba TV. Na fikala, they are busy. File pela mafumo. Iwe, you are now in a public domain, Pamela. I mean, what's your name again? Muson. Your name is dented. Don't be used. Please, women, you are so special to this world. We need you. You are our mothers, and we should be protecting you in all this, instead of being fear. Stop using our women for your own political and selfish needs. These are special human beings that brings life to this planet, and let's give them all the powers, the equal rights they want.
And that's the only property.
So ine mwandi ni chirenkalipo kusangati abana kashi kwati abena Faith eva nabe na Pamela baleba bomfya ama guys ukuyaiva fiena na fikara fima guys ati ma mafias awe hii system ikapwe ya kushita abuse our women. We should go beyond that. You know, we claim to be Christians. Let's not use women for anything. Ngawamona fe chimwa omechiresa chambo kumo omwana kashi wishibe ati chena is gay, or I'm sorry, or there's like a little girl who is trying to come out of him because he considers himself as a girl, and when he looks at another woman.
Honorable member, you are out of order to bring in your issue. Your issue, your twice reject.
No, I'm just negating people who are taking advantage of using women, because they take advantage of using Avanakashi because maybe there's a little girl trying to come out of the closet. That's why you see them, they find it, they don't care about talking to girls, abusing them. They can use them in any time.
You just use that language, just fine, without having to make a allegation. Because no, they are not gays or heteros or anything like that.
No. Just because they are a weaker position. No.
Okay, so TVBAKWETU survives on subscriptions and stars and all sorts of stuff. If you are on the Dr. Elias Munsha page, you're going to see on the comments, there is an icon there that looks like a heart. Not the heart icon, but it looks like it's green. I think it's green. Click there. Particularly remember diaspora. Anyway, but diaspora, both, all the listeners, and become a monthly subscriber. That is our goal. Monthly subscriber, not just so we have about 34 monthly subscribers. We want to grow this. This is independent discussion. Independent discussion. It does not depend on anything. We already put in a lot of time from our own various occupations in order to serve you, because Zambia matters. And in the Zambian political sphere, there is a need for a voice such as TVBAKWETU to continue. Nomba noti atafuta tuachita makampeni ya uteko bwachinja elo tukesa le TVBAKWETU mlandu wako watuafirwa kulipira renti hapa Facebook. It will be terrible. Actually, mukasevana vane, if you are listening to TVBAKWETU, elo mwafirwa kuchita pay rent yapa StreamYard na ngwe yapa Facebook. It will be terrible. So let's work together and grow the subscriber base. If you have not yet subscribe, become a supporter. Ukusupporta fite kusupporta fipakanwa atinde supporter. Iyo bane over monthly subscriber at an extremely low rate. Extremely low yako ati ngani muweba kuba sungu koko muhikala. It's just like one coffee. Nisho over monthly subscriber. But at the beginning, subscribe, it's just like $3. One coffee. You become a monthly subscriber. Become a monthly subscriber. This has been a presentation of TVBAKWETU. This is at 1 hour 30 mark. Thank you. I've had Patrick Chilufya, mukelabai na ngwife bachilanda kukuma lasti jisumine yo jisumine and Wallace Miyoba and Rose, and then mu background umwemo bachi babatu nombatabachi sabatitima chanda mwani nefyo nachi bakanisha ba mukelabai TVBAKWETU goes across the world. elo in different jurisdictions mulandu ukushova abantu bamagays, mulandu nokukaka kuti vakukakirapo na TV Bakwetu ine kuti vaisala nga vamufoko vati uleshova abantu efyo nomba tuchitira twa chitafye wangu wangu kwa vati twaishiwa kwa vati we are not flouting the law, twaishiwa kwa vati muzambia fyali pisanako nomba kufyalo we are carrying our message na kuchalo kuli mukela vaikuine ifi vachira ndevi nga fyachiva mu Finnish na mu Danish nga vali muchipe taivyo vyene vamukala vari
iyo mukwaye chishinka.
Thank you very much. This has been TV Bakwetu. God bless you and God bless our country.